Hello everyone, my name is Miranda Miller and I want to share a little bit with you guys today about my story. I've never actually done a live video. This is first for me, so I'm really stepping out there, but my heart is to really share with you guys some things I've gone through, where I'm at to this day, hoping it will encourage you and empower you no matter where you're at in life, because we're all on different journeys, we're all on different places in life. And so I'm going to open myself up to you. I'm going to be vulnerable. I'm going to share with you some of my hurts, some of the hard things that I've had to go through and how I've had to break free from some of the mindsets that I've had. And so I'm just going to dig right in. My name is Miranda Miller, and I am a certified health and life coach. And I'm going to tell you how I got to where I'm at today, what caused me to take this step to really want to help you guys and help you discover life for yourself. So I'm going to go all the way back from when I was young. I'm going to go back to while I was a child. And I'm going to try not to cry during this, but I'm going to talk about some serious stuff. And I'm just going to open myself up to you, because that's why I do what I do, is because of my passion to help you guys. So back to when I was a child. So I was raised in a good home. My parents, went to church. They were very committed. They loved God with all of their hearts. They did whatever they could to serve Him. And I was raised in that home. And then things began to happen and spiral out of control. And I'm going to share with you what kind of started to happen. So my dad was into business and he was doing really well. Things were going really good for him. And he decided to take a new adventure with business and take a new turn. So he sold his business to invest into a new one. And while doing this, the gentleman that attended our church that he was going to invest with ended up taking his business from him, ended up stealing some things out of him, his finances, everything that we had. He put everything into it and it was ripped away. And that forced my dad to have to go and really get back into the workforce. He started working 100-hour weeks to pay bills. Working lots to try to keep up with things because we went from doing pretty well to nothing. So we went back to scratch. Well, during this time, that's what he was doing. My mom at this time too started having some health issues start to happen. So my dad had just lost everything that he had in this business adventure. He put everything into it and went back into the workforce because he needed to pay the bills. My mom started struggling with her health. She started to have migraines. She had some seizures. She ended up getting diagnosed with fibromyalgia. My mom had nowhere to go and no one to turn to. And so she began to cope with the pain through taking narcotics. She began to turn to the narcotics to help her get through the day. I remember when I was younger, my mom would do nice homemade meals at the dinner table, and all of a sudden it went to where she was just in bed all the time. She couldn't do anything anymore. So I went from this house this home that was like everything was what you would think would be perfect, and serving and loving God with their whole hearts, to losing everything we had financially, trying to invest in a business, and that got ripped out from underneath us. And my mom got sick, and so she was out of the picture in bed a lot. My dad's at work, working 100 hours a week, trying to make things happen. And we got into this vicious cycle. Everything was just stuck. Everything was taken from us. And so by the time I was 14, my parents were really not much in the picture, dealing with things that they had to deal with. And so that was about at the age of 14. And then when I turned 16, I was forced into having sex. I was taken advantage of, and for so long I carried the guilt and the shame of that because I allowed it to happen and I didn't stop it, that's what I had to do. I just had to throw myself out there, and that is what I had done. And I hit the world hard. I went running and I had nowhere to go. I didn't have anybody to turn to. And so I just went head first into the world, started giving up of my body and digging into the drugs and just turning that avenue. And that was at the age of 16. By the age of 17, I was pregnant. I had my first baby at the age of 17, which actually was really the best thing that ever happened to me, because she was the thing that really kept me kept me centered. It helped me to, even though I was in the world, it kept a good head on my shoulders. It caused me not to give up and not to lose hope, because I knew I had a child I had to take care of. And so that was the best thing that happened to me that helped me through this time. And then during this time, I unwisely made a foolish decision, and I got married because the boyfriend I had at the time needed some dental insurance. And so I didn't know what, the value of marriage was. And, so I married him to give insurance, and within 6 months, he had an affair, was cheating on me. And so it started to end. But during this time, my mom also passed away. So it was a very tough time. My mom had lost her life, and what I thought marriage was supposed to be, and everything was just not what I ever intended it would ever be, ever dreamt of it. So I remember one day sitting at the end of my bed, and I talked to God, and I said, God, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. My life was out of control. At this time, I'd had 2 babies. I got pregnant and had another one with my boyfriend before I married him. So I'd had 2 kids out of wedlock, and I just sat there and I just said, God, I can't do this. And so what I did is I turned and I went to the church. I knew I needed to get my life right with God. And so I went to church, and I started to get things together. I never went back to the world, never went back to the partying, never went back to any of that. And I put my head first forward into serving God. And in doing that, things began to turn, things began to work out, things began to shift. I ended up meeting my husband that I have now at our church. When I started going back, I ended up meeting him, got a good job, was doing great. And then we started serving God together and really plugging in, giving God our all in everything that we did. It was really just to plug in. Our passion's always been to help people. And so we started to do that. And then it seemed like as time went on, something began to change in us. And that passion and that fire and that zeal that we first once had began to kind of fall away. And it was almost like we began just to do what we had to do, go to church because that's what we had to do. And that really created a time of our life where I began to give up. I began to give up taking care of me. I began to give up taking care of my family. I began to put other things in front of myself and my family and my children and my home, thinking that that's what I had to do. And so when that started to happen, I started to gain a lot of weight. I started to have some things that I saw in my mom back in the day, and it got my attention. And I knew if I continued down that road, what was going to happen, because I saw it happen. And so I knew I had to change some things in my life. And so I started really looking for some resources to help me get my life back under control again, because that's why I had turned to go to the Lord. That's why I had turned to go to church. But even in that place of church and serving God, I was still losing control, and I was like, what is going on? And so I found some resources that helped me. It helped me get my life back under control. It helped me gain my life back again, get that passion and that zeal and that fire for life again. It began to awaken in me. It began to stir in me. And so now it has, God's began to do something in our hearts where I have gotten that zeal and passion for life again, but I've gotten it in a deep way where I've understood learning the value of life. And sometimes when we're serving the Lord and we have a good heart and we want to do His will, we get frustrated when things aren't going like we think they should, and we get frustrated and we start to take it out on people. And that's what happened to me. I began to take things out on people, and I began to have aggressions and frustrations because I knew I wasn't living to my full of what I could, my fullness of who I really could be. And so I really sat back in life and I began to look at my priorities, and I began to see that some things were out of alignment, really. And as I did this and I sat back and I started to really take care of myself, I started to take care of my family, I began to shift priorities. I began to really learn to develop my children. It was like some things began to shift. And I want to tell you guys this today because you guys have destiny and you have purpose. And it's so easy to just lose it in the midst of life. We are living in something that's called the game of life. You have one life to live. There will never be another you on the face of this earth. Hi, Aunt Laura. There will never be another Aunt Laura like you on the face of this earth. So we need everything that you have to offer. We need everything. This world is looking for you to arise. And sometimes it's taking one step a day. Sometimes it could be there's the beautiful sunshine today. Maybe it's going out and getting some fresh air and walking and getting your body moving. Maybe it's swapping out at dinner time for a nice salad to nourish your body through your food. Maybe it looks like for you, maybe it looks like instead of eating out going through a drive-through, cooking a nice dinner. There is only one person in life, and that is you, that will ever be where you're at with a destiny and a purpose and a calling by God. And no one can ever do what you are assigned to do. And my dream and my passion is to take the hurt that I went through as a child, the way things spiraled out of control, the heartache that I faced and that I dealt with, to where I am now, and trying to go to church thinking that was the avenue, that was the way I was going to affect people, that's how I was going to influence them. Now my passion is to see you guys arise, to help people really take that life back, to take ownership of where they are and to go forward in life. This world is waiting. There's cities that are crying out. There's people that are broken, that are stuck. That was like me at the age of 16 that were forced into having sex, and now they feel like they're worthless. Now they feel like they're nothing. They feel like there's no value attached to them. There's many, many people out there, many young children that are out there, and they're looking for somebody who will love them. They're looking for somebody who will embrace them like their own. So maybe for you, going to the store and just smiling at everybody you see is what you want to do to help. Whatever you can do to get out today to help. What's that one action that you can take today? The one thing that you can do today. We can't change, I can't change the world, but I can do one thing today that will impact my life and it will impact other lives. And so I want to challenge you guys. That was my past. That was my story. And I've had to really pull out of a lot of those mindsets. I've had to deal with the hurt and the heartache and the frustration and the disappointments. And I've had to take that to motivate me, to send me forward into my future, and to propel me to help motivate, to send people out there, because there is a world that is waiting and that is lost, and we can't just sit on the sidelines anymore. It's a game, and we have to get in and we have to play the game of life head on. And so I just want to encourage you guys to find that one thing you can do today, whatever it looks like to you. Find one thing you can do that's going to bring value to yourself and also value to other people. Because I want to tell you this, if you're not bringing value to yourself, you're either adding value to your life or you're taking it away. Okay? You're either going to add value or there's no middle ground. So we're always either adding value or we're deleting value from our life. There's no middle ground. So I want to encourage you guys to do something to add value today. No matter how big or little, don't think it's got to be something big. Even little things work. Add value to your life today. Go out there and do something that's going to bring encouragement to other people. Whether through nutrition for your body, if that's what you need, whatever you need, find to add value. I want to encourage you guys with that. I want to leave you with that. I want to bless you with that. If you guys have any questions, again, I am a certified health and life coach. I love coming along people that are where they're at one place in life and they really want to move forward and they feel stuck. I love to work with people. I love to help people take that next step and to help navigate through life, the game of life, because we should always be moving forward. You have lives to affect. There is only one of you. So if you need support, you can contact me, and I would be happy to help you. But again, one thing today. What is the one thing you're going to do to add value to your life and to add value to somebody else's life? I love you all. I pray God's blessing over you. And I just encourage you to have a wonderful day. Put a smile on your face. Let this be the best day of your life. Today is today. Tomorrow we'll take care of tomorrow. So focus on today. Take it head on. And I encourage you. I bless you in Jesus' name. And I look forward to talking to you guys again. Bye.